Today on the channel, it's the return of the Kyle Peterson Top 5. And in today's video, we got something a little different, a little something special. We're counting down my top 5 favorite Mattel, JBL, Bradshaw, Justin Hawk Bradshaw, you name it, figures of all time.
The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, back again with another edition of the Kyle Peterson Top 5, a Thursday tradition here on this YouTube channel. As every single Thursday, we're counting down my top 5 favorites and occasionally top 10 favorites of something or someone. And today we got one with a bit of a twist going on. As of late, I've been on the road for work all week, every week for the last month or so. I've been traveling all over the United States, just a world traveler. And with that has a lot of time in hotel rooms, a lot of time on the road. So what do? Well, you listen to podcasts, you listen to music to fill some of that time, some of that travel time. And I have been listening to a lot of Bruce Pritchard's podcast. However, Bruce has not been there and JBL has taken over for a time being. I'm not sure how many months it's going to go, but it's been interesting to hear from Bradshaw, JBL, Justin Hawk Bradshaw, whatever you want to call him. Been interested to hear his take on a few things. Now, I met Bradshaw once upon a time at the old Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame in Waterloo. Very nice guy to me. That's all I know. I know some people don't like him, and he's kind of one of those personalities that either love him or hate him. But I am enjoying some of his stories, especially the old days about GWF. Of course, GWF very fond for me, running home from elementary school as a little kid to see GWF action back when we didn't have wrestling like we have now. So anytime you get wrestling, especially every single day after school, that was a big deal. So I love hearing his stories about his time in the GWF, his time in Germany, Japan, early runs in the WWF, into WWE, and all points in between. So I've really enjoyed that podcast, which said to me, saying, hey, I need to do a top 5 Bradshaw, JBL, all included in this one here. But I want to do something different. I want to do this just Mattel. Now, he's got a lot of Jakks figures, and one day we'll probably do a JBL top 10 with everything combined. This is just Mattel in this one. And when I was thinking about Bradshaw, you think of him as, different gimmicks over the years. And it's crazy how many different gimmicks, how many different personas he has actually had, where he's basically been the same guy with a twist. He's been the rugged cowboy. He's been the even more rugged cowboy. He's been a blackjack. He's, of course, been the $1 million man, the rich guy. He's been the announcer. He's been an acolyte. He's been APA. He's been all over the place. And he's one of those guys where you think of with different gimmicks that kind of passes by. As you think of a guy, I don't know, Jim Neidhart, he was the Who. There's certain guys you don't remember they had more gimmicks than one. And Bradshaw is one of those ones that's right in your face with all of his gimmicks, but you don't think about it. You don't take that step back and you think of all the different gimmicks he's had. Now, been well represented in Mattel in all the gimmicks except the new Blackjacks. Would love to see Barry Windham get signed so we get the new Blackjacks. That would be very fun, hopefully one of these days. But today we're going to count down my 5 favorite Mattel versions of JBL, Bradshaw, once again, whatever you want to call him. Going to be a fun list to put together, and it will be a top 5. And of course, like all the top 5s, start at number 5, work our way to number 1. Number 1 being the number 1 Bradshaw JBL figure of all time, as far as Mattel does go. And as usual, this is my list. Put your list in the comments down below. So between all that, let's get down to it. Let's get down to number 5. Number 5, we're going deep. We're going deep into the Mattel history. We're going all the way back to Basic Series 67 for another gimmick, maybe, I don't know what you want to call it, for Bradshaw, aka JBL. It is Announcer JBL. Of course, he was an announcer for some time on SmackDown with Michael Cole. Another part of his career that maybe you kind of forget about. He was an announcer for a good amount of time, and that's where we're going at number 5. This can also work as, of course, backstage JBL. Do whatever you want with JBL. But this, to me, is just pure JBL as an announcer. Very fun. We don't get enough announcer figures from Mattel, so when we do get ones like this, it is always a little bit special, and that's why Basic 67 JBL comes in at number 5. We've hit the number 4 spot in the countdown, and number 4 is one that a lot of people don't know there is a variant to. I remember not finding this out till maybe a year after it was released. What are we talking about? Well, we're going all the way back to Mattel Elite Series 38 for APA Bradshaw. And now, all these years later, I can't remember which one's more rare than the others. Of course, you got sleeveless version and sleeves version. I think it was supposed to be sleeveless, if I'm not mistaken there. But a very cool one, of course, the Acolyte Protection Agency, APA, with Farouk Ron Simmons. For a lot of people, the highlight of Bradshaw's career. A lot of fun over the years with them. Love them as a tag team, of course, starting in the Acolytes, working their way to APA. A lot of fun with this Bradshaw. And this is a one, including Ron Simmons. Have to imagine a future Vault release of something like that, Greatest Hits release. I could see that, or maybe just brand new tooling and redone, because these are a little bit dated. Obviously, the issues with the shirts, these could be done better, Ron Simmons included. So hopefully in the future, maybe the near future, we get an updated APA. Would be fun to have that one, and I think a lot of people would want to pick that one up. But Elite 38 right here coming in at number 4. If I had to choose between the two, I prefer the sleeveless one, but this is one of those Mattel variants that maybe not everybody knows about, but still a fun figure for what it is. Could definitely be updated, but this one right now coming in at number 4. We've hit the halfway point in the countdown. You got your list together? Make sure you put it in the comments down below, and don't forget to like the video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. While you're here, every Thursday we got countdowns, be it a top 5 or top 10. Make sure you're here every single Thursday. But now we're at the number 3 spot. Have to imagine when most people close their eyes, as I'm sure most people do every single night when they go to bed, they probably think of this version of JBL. We're going all the way back to Mattel Elite 23 for JBL with the jacket, the towel, the white hat. Looking like JBL, how we know him when he was wrestling and when he was world champion, feuding with Eddie Guerrero. Possibly, and for most people, maybe the highlight, and I would say probably the highlight of his career, being the world champion as well. This is probably what you think of if you do think of him as a champion. Very cool JBL, and this is another one of those figures that is good. I think it definitely warrants a From the Vault or Greatest Hits release. I feel like there's more they could do with this one. And JBL, a guy, it's under Legends deal. I think they should take advantage of some more of his gimmicks and some of his stuff. Be it re-releases, be it brand new sculpts. Would love to see it. Maybe even an ultimate version of JBL one day. We'll see what happens there. But Elite 23 comes in on the countdown at number 3. Dangerously close to the end of the countdown, of course, now at number 2. And number 2 was a fairly recent release, one that peg-warmed for a while, but a little harder to find in this day and age. I don't see it around a whole lot at toy shows and conventions and stuff I go to. I'm sure you can still find it at a decent price, but it does represent, of course, JBL during Bradshaw years, member of course, the Acolytes with Ron Simmons, Farouk once again, going to the Target exclusive Legends Series 16 Bradshaw. Fun one. The tag title is always special. Love to have this one with, of course, Farouk paired up with The Undertaker, part of the Ministry of Darkness. A definite interesting figure, an interesting time in Bradshaw's career. Obviously went from this to the APA, which I did think was more successful and probably more well-remembered, I'm sure. But a moment in the time, once again, much like the new Black Jakks in the tag team history of JBL Bradshaw. A fun one right here is the Target exclusive Legend 16, and that's why it's number 2 in the top 5 list, which means there can only be one. What is my number 1 favorite Mattel Bradshaw figure of all time? Well, stay tuned. Here we are at the number 1 spot, the number 1 Bradshaw figure of all time via Mattel. Once again, get your list together, put it in the comments down below, and don't forget to thumbs up the video while you're here. But here we are back again to the Target Legends series in a fairly recent one. If you're watching this as it drops, you can probably find this at your Target right now, in and out of sales, things like that. It is the Legends Justin Hawk Bradshaw. For many people, this is where they first discovered Bradshaw. A little caveat to this one, this is an extra Kurt Hennig NWO West Texas Rednecks figure from the Monday Night Wars. I had an extra one because it's a 2-in-1. I used this hat on him, which works perfectly here. Pro tip out there. But this Bradshaw, a very fun one. You get the bull rope, you get the duster, you get the long hair, you get an early version of Bradshaw. Very fun. This is how most came into him, and I absolutely loved his Bone Cruncher way back when from Jakks that was just like this one. Absolutely love that figure. So very cool to get an updated one in the Mattel Legends line via Target. A fun figure. A lot of people picking this one up. And as I said, currently on the store shelves right now, if you're watching this as it drops, I guess is what we'll say. But a fun figure nonetheless. As I said a few times in this video, new Black Jakks JBL would be one I would love to see. Hopefully that comes in the future. Obviously, some of the older ones could be updated. And in all honesty, I think there's some more JBL Elite meat on the bone. I have to imagine over the next year or so, we'll get some of that, I would have to think. And if I had to pick one I wanted first, it would probably be the APA. I would love to get an updated APA. I think that would be a lot of fun. We'll see what ends up happening as I'm filming this. WrestleMania right around the corner. So hopefully they do some announcements and maybe we'll get a new JBL in the future there. But that is my top 5. Once again, put your top 5 in the comments down below. Be interested to hear your thoughts on who you would like as far as JBL and what the order would be as far as the ones that have been released so far. Of course, put it on in the comments. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the old notification bell. We got videos every single day. And then some. We got even more content for you, of course, over there on Patreon. Patreon, the best way to support this YouTube channel and all the content it brings. Check out ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson. Sir Paul64 on the X. The _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, and of course, now on TikTok. So for JBL, the Acolytes, the new Black Jakks, Justin Hawk Bradshaw, or just Bradshaw, maybe even John Layfield, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.
Well, are we gonna dance or are we gonna play?